welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things about the things that we're grateful for, the things that are going to help us to grow. Hello there. My name is Natasha. I am so excited to be your host today. You know what today is? Today is, I know when you see this, it's not going to be this day, be far from it, but today is Thanksgiving. And you know what? It was a really, really, really good day. I started my day. So my tradition for the last 2 years has been to go to the gym in the morning. So I think this is the second or third year. I think it's the third year. And I go to the gym in the morning. I dance with my gym family and then come home and cook. And the previous years, Chris was here, so he would help me. I'd get everything ready for the turkey ahead of time. You know, he'd have the oven ready. You know, like there was a little bit of teamwork. He used to help me with the basting and things like that. And so approaching this holiday, this is technically our second holiday, our third family event in this short amount of time that since he's been gone. Isn't the first Thanksgiving he wasn't with us? You know, previously when he had an indiscretion, it was also around the Thanksgiving. And so Brad and Karina and I have spent a Thanksgiving without him. This is our second one without him, but for the little boys, this was the first. And so, you know, I had last night and leading up to this day, I had a lot of conflicting emotions, right? Like there was a part of me when this first happened, like, of course he's still invited for Thanksgiving. Of course I want him here. Like, that's just, you know, that was always my goal and desire, is to say, like, you know, why not? We've been a family, like we could just be friends, like come over. And then, you know, lifed and the way things transpired, like and certain things that were said and done, and it just it didn't feel right for me. And so, you know, I went back and forth, and ultimately at the end of the day, my kids are my priority. This is our home. It is not mine. It is our home, and the decisions are made what is best for the team. And I will take one for the team. Like, I would have had no problem for him to be here. Really, I think in theory, right? Like, it was like, I would have no problem if you're here under these certain conditions. If you can't meet these conditions, then no, you know, like I don't want the negativity. I don't want the whatever it is. So of course I wanted it in my own terms, you know, when I thought about it. But one of the biggest terms is everybody here has to be in agreement, and not everybody was in agreement. And so I just let it be, and I didn't invite him. And I, you know, again, I say, you know, he has the opportunity. He can say, hey guys, I'm cooking a turkey, invite us all over. You know, he's got a kitchen, he's got access to grocery stores, and he knows how to cook and baste. He's basted turkeys with me the whole, you know, for a lot of the years actually. As I'd be like, I need to go shower, can you baste this turkey? So, you know, he's a darn good baster. He knows how to baste. So, you know, I mean, there were options, there were things, and, you know, he chose not for those, right? Like, just the same thing when it was time to take pictures, you know, with the family at the pumpkin patch, he was with another woman. Like, that's his choice, right? When it came to Halloween, he wasn't here with us. He, you know, didn't wish anybody a happy Halloween that day, you know, like those were the choices. And so, you know, I get a message last night, the whole family did, and I felt really conflicted, because I felt like, you know, part of it was like I was invited to multiple different turkey experiences, but I didn't get invited from the one I wanted the most. And it kind of made me feel really bad. Like, I felt bad for him on one aspect. Like, here you really wanted to come here, and on the same turn, it's like, no, you're not going to have your cake and eat it too. You know, like, it's been really difficult on us there in a lot of senses of the word. And I'm not going to put words in my kid's mouth. But for my sense, I feel really abandoned. And not even that, like, I feel abandoned, and then I also feel punished when, like I said, we had no heat for a night. Like, what? Like, I didn't understand the gravity of, like, isn't this reality enough of a punishment? Like, why are you hurting us more? Why are you like doing these things and taking us out where we can't open our garage or do these things? Like, what is the reasoning for doing these things so sudden, when you know there's an adverse effect on not just me, but the kids. And so that like infuriates me, right? And so I really work on coming to terms and saying, okay, here's where we're going to learn, here's where we're going to grow, here's where you're going to get stronger, right? So coming into this holiday, there's these mixed emotions. You have these moments and I'm in the kitchen and alone, and the kids are doing decorations and then they're playing football outside and I'm still doing stuff inside, and one was still sick, so he's in his room watching football, and 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 I asked the Echo thing I have to like play Thanksgiving playlist, and I don't know if it got confused what I was saying, and I asked it twice and it kept playing the same playlist, and I'm like, you know what, maybe the universe is trying to say something to me. And it was like almost these range of songs that were like a range of like breakup to like everything is gonna be okay, like, and it was strange, literally like so strange. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it. And my daughter's like, oh, what are you listening to? I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like I just need to. And it was this kind of cathartic thing, and it was this moment, because there's a lot of fears. Like all of a sudden our baster was gone. I'm searching, I'm looking for this baster. I got a base. Looking, other kids are looking, everybody's looking for this baster, and we're like, I think we threw it away. I think it cracked and we broke, and I threw it away, and I was supposed to order one and I never did. And so this is something I would have been like, Chris, I have to do the turkey. Can you run out? And it was like, there is no Chris to say, hey, can you go get it? It's, you got to put the big girl pants on. You got to go run out and get the baster, or you need to find an alternative way to baste the turkey. And we're at first based here. I'm not the one. So I go run out. First store is closed. I get to the second store, they're sold out. Then I'm like, but I'm not leaving any stone unturned. I go to the bakery sends me here, and they send me here. And I found they had 3 left, like in this weird end cap. And it was buy one, get one free. So I felt really bad because I had to buy 2. I couldn't, of course, just leave the other one. But I was like, I wish I could find somebody out here who was like, here. There had been a lady who needed one. And if I had saw them, I literally would have gave her the other baster. Like, I don't need 2. But I'm also not going to just leave my other baster here. I was like, in case this one breaks or cracks, now I know next year I should not be coming out and having to buy a baster. But, or like running to get the bread for the spinach dip, or, like all those like little like loose end things that like I would have had Chris take care of or whatever, delegated to him. And I was really nervous as I'm cooking like everything, right? So it's like you're doing everything. My daughter did the pies, but, I did the whole meal like without any help, and so my daughter did baste so I could take a shower, so she did a few of the basting, so I appreciate that. So I wasn't helpless, didn't have any help, but like it was all on me. And I was really apprehensive about the cutting of the turkey. I was like, okay, it's not gonna look pretty. I even ordered like an electric knife and everything, and I ended up being that my daughter's boyfriend was here. His grandma had got sick, so he went and spent some time with his family and then came here. So thank goodness, and he cut the turkey beautifully, and I was just like, thank goodness that he was here and could cut that, because it was the one thing that I was like, okay, I can do this. Like I pulled it out and I was like, okay, this is the part, like Chris usually pulls it out, like, and it's his turkey now at that point. Like it's his responsibility to get it onto the thing in order to get it on our plates. And now it's mine. Like this is my responsibility now. And I didn't want it. I didn't ask for it, but it's mine now. And again, it feels like the weight of the world is on my shoulders, but I'm still surviving. Like I'm not even surviving. I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm going to start thriving. Like I feel like every day, I was telling you, like, it feels like yesterday, like my spirit is broken. And I'm honest about that. Like usually, like for so many years of my life, if somebody would be like, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. And I could be dying on the inside. And now I'm like, I'm hanging in there, but like I know I'm gonna be better. Like I'm okay, and having the courage to even be that honest. And sometimes I'm like, I'm good, because I just don't want to have this conversation depending on who it is. But the ones that know and I trust, they know that there's something, a little more heavy that I'm experiencing and I'm navigating. And I really share because this these this opportunity to share has been such a help, like from my weight loss journey, from them hearing about it or witnessing it themselves. It has been a source of inspiration for them. I get people still come up to me all the time about how much watching me has inspired them to take action. They'll say, I was at home and I was laying in my bed and I was going to stay laying in my bed, but for some reason you popped in my mind and I got out of bed and I came. And, like that is so special to me to like know that I'm not trying, I'm just here being me, and I make an impact on somebody's life. And that means something to me. And it's a motivation for me to sit here and be like, hey, maybe something I can say or show, or, you can see, and as an evolution makes a difference. I had somebody comment today and said, I can see your confidence growing. Like I can see you getting the way you speak, the things, like you're growing. And so that's why it was really important for me that even though I started and knew I was much better at that 8-month mark of where I was in the journey, and I knew that the videos were only 30 minutes versus the hour and a half. And I was like, how am I ever going to get a viewer? I don't even want to listen to me for an hour and a half. I would fall asleep literally as I was trying to figure out, what is this episode even? What am I trying to say here? What is the point here? I would sit there and be like, oh my gosh. And then when I would listen to me at 2x and it still was like, oh my gosh, this is a snooze fest. But that's the whole point, right? When we start, a lot of times it's messy. It's we don't know what we're doing. We're falling on our face and we're getting back up again, and we're just taking little steps, and we're trying to get better each day. And I feel like from where I began to now, this may be the same location, but I am not the same person. And that goes for this journey too. This new experience that I'm navigating right now, it's new and it's raw. And so, yeah, there's a lot of talk about it. Just like when I began my weight loss journey, it was at the forefront of conversations. When I began my fitness journey, it was at the forefront of my conversations. When I started doing my more, mindful practices and having these magical mornings where I'm meditating and daily doses, and that got a lot of attention, right? Because they're raw and they're new and they're getting instilled into your DNA and who you are as part of your baseline, as part of your foundation, right? So as we share these things and we talk about them, they become more of our reality, and we become more of who we want to be, and show up how we want to show up in this world. So again, this is part of, for me, why there's the conflict, right? Because I can take away everything, and I can eliminate the things that I can not control that Chris does in his life. And I've always wanted to control, like the way in which he talked to me, the way in which he, showed up for the kids, or, but at the end of the day, he's him. And I just have to let him be him, right? And so I can take myself out of it and say, let's just ignore all that. And let's just look at the basics. He is a human who wants to have dinner with his family. And from what it sounds like, doesn't have the verbiage or the thought to create it on his own. Instead, it's like, invite me in a kind of a passive aggressive kind of excuse me, still have a little bit of the residual, but I'm feeling great. Sorry. Thing. And so I could see it as a human, right? Like, and as a human, like, there's this conflict where it's like, there is this moment. Sorry. Great. I really hope that like when this happens, the little asthma comes up and I'm like, don't do this to me right now. Anyways, I'm going to take some water. Human to human, my heart hurts, like, for him, right? Doesn't matter how he's hurting me or punishing me or anything. Human to human, I wanted to be like, of course, come over. There's plenty of turkey. There's plenty of food. Like, where we live. But on the same turn, I have to understand and respect that that's not what everybody wants around. And I have to understand that some might want that. And I have to understand that this is the new normal. And for me, it's really confusing still to be around him. It's in my mind, and especially during those 2 weeks or week, whatever it was, it felt like 2 weeks, but maybe it was a week, where he was being really nice to me. I found myself falling into the trap again. I found myself romanticizing him and romanticizing this idea of us being together and keeping the family together and just going back to what our uncomfortable comfort was. And I'm really working hard at accepting where I am and accepting that we are no longer really a couple. Like, we are not a couple. And that there are only a few ways in which he can still betray me. And that's a good thing. And I think that, he's made it clear that he's moved on. He loves me as a person, but, you know, he has moved on, and that's great. Like, it is. Like, I'm happy for him. I really do, at the end of the day, want him to be happy. Yeah, of course, like I said, there's a part of me that, like, was really hurt and was like, why is it okay to be this person's friend but not my friend? Like, why could we not, those simple things that I was asking for were unattainable with me, but are with somebody else. And why is it you pick and choose when we're a priority and when you want to hang out with us, but when you don't, is because she was unavailable today. And so, that was really your first choice, and now we're your second choice. And I don't know, right? And so, but as a human, so I can say, like, I can sit here and try to mind read and make the stories or whatever, but at the end of the day, a human, somebody wanted something and they didn't get it. And that makes me sad. It's somebody that I care for. And because I still care for him. I still do. No matter what he's done, no matter what I've done, no matter what our state of it is, I care for him. He is the father of my kids. And he is somebody I spent 25 years with, good, bad, or ugly. Like, and so it was really conflicting for me. And it felt good knowing I got through the first holiday, and so did my kids, because that was my biggest worry. Was I knew I'd survive it, but would they? How would it be? Like, on the good news is we were all kind of shuffled our seats. Nobody was in their normal seats. And I think, so Chris wasn't in his seat, my son Tyler was in his seat, and because he likes to sit there because of his leg. And, I was in the back, and Karina was in my seat, and Owen was in, Karina or Brad's. I would always alternate. And, if they were home, if not, then, the boys would hop in on those sides. And Dylan was in, like, the seat that, like, either Brad or Karina was in. And so it just worked. And Brad was on speakerphone. So as we ate, he was on the phone with us the whole time as we went around the table doing the best, because my daughter's leaving out of town and she doesn't want to get sick. And understandably, I don't want any of them sick. Like, so, yeah. So that all worked out good. But, like, so we had this thing, and we had a lot of great communication, and the Christmas finished going up outside. The boys were outside playing football, everybody but Brad, because he's still sick, unfortunately. And I got to sit in a chair and just watch them play football for a while. And I got to watch, like, I couldn't because my back was hurting too much, but, like, they were doing ornaments on the Christmas tree, and getting to watch that and just talk and have cake or not cake, pies. My daughter made pies with her boyfriend, and it just was beautiful, and it was peaceful, and there wasn't any drama. And they had great bests. And like I said, in my best is, like, this has been one of the most challenging months of my life personally, right? Because yes, it's been challenging when I have supported somebody else in their darkest day. But this is kind of one of my darkest times. Like, not only am I in excruciating physical pain, I am in excruciating emotional pain. I'm bargaining, I'm begging, I'm pleading. I'm in excruciating thinking pain. Like, what the heck am I gonna do? Like, what the heck am I gonna do? How am I gonna make this work? Like, my brain is on rapid fire. I'm sleeping very, very little, because there's so much on my mind, and there's so much, like, on my heart. I am going through every kind of emotion, sometimes every emotion in a day. Like today, there's a time that I was like, I'm gonna be 100%. There was a time that I was like, good. Like, you need to feel what it feels like to miss your family. Like, not for me. Like, you don't need to miss me. But like, maybe this is the catalyst that will give you some guidance to make an effort in their lives beyond saying, come over, like make a plan. If he ever said, hey, I'm cooking a turkey on Tuesday, I'm going to pick you up for dinner at 6, they're not going to say no. They're not going to say no. They love their dad. Of course they do. And I would never encourage them to not. I would never encourage them to not go there. Like, no. And so, like, I made it really clear that what I was thankful for this year was just that, like, while I was in my darkest time and we all are experiencing things, what we have done here in this house, in our home, is we've come together as a team. Everyone has stepped up in their own ways as much as they can. Well, maybe not as much as they can, but I mean, they've all stepped up. Like, they've all helped out and take on garbage and laundry and cooking and cleaning and just being really good to one another, which has made this teamwork worth it. It's made this whole thing possible. Because if we were all taking out our pain and our sorrow and our sadness and our anger and whatever emotions, because whatever I'm experiencing, they're experiencing too. I'm personally more in tune because I'm aware that before, when I was their age, I used to just stuff that. I was like, oh, nothing's going on. Everything's good over here. I'd find some kind of vice to drown it away in. And now I am having the courage to sit with it. Believe me, there was a moment when I was at the store for the second time today, grocery store, and everything was going on and my back was hurting. I was like, honestly, I'm gonna get a little cocktail tonight, but I don't want to have a headache and I don't want to like feel like crap tomorrow. It was just like, I'm not gonna just sit here and drink a drink alone. I didn't need it, but there was just this moment that I just wanted to numb. I wanted to numb the pain away and be like, damn, I've been through a lot. And I was like, still not now. Like, get through it a little more and then you can numb. Like, if you want to find something to numb it, like, I'm not numbing in food. I'm not numbing in any of the usual ways that I typically do. I'm really allowing myself this kindness to sit with emotions and not judge them. So as these songs came up, it was a range. It was like what I'm experiencing in my real life. And it was just really cathartic because there was times that I was crying, there was times that I was laughing, there was times that I was having memories, and even at the dinner I made sure to still bring up their dad in a positive light, we were talking about how he would love to eat the turkey legs in Disneyland, and I was like, oh, your dad used to have the legs, so you guys, somebody wanted the leg, and let's go for it, like, you can have it, no big deal, like, that was for dads, because somebody's like, I know somebody likes turkey legs. I was like, it was dad, so you're all good, like, but to just like, I don't want it to feel like you can't say his name and oh my gosh, like, it's gonna, no, that's your dad, you can say it, and like I said in the beginning, I'll admit I was not the like number one fan, and then he became nice and I was like, oh, okay, then it got ugly again, and then I was like, oh no, and so now we're kind of settled at this place where, for me, I realize now that being overly involved in his life, being overly, caring and making sure he's okay and all these things, he told me once, in a couple days ago, before he started yelling at me, that I'm not his problem anymore. And the truth is, he never really was my problem. I took him on as he was my problem, but he wasn't mine. Like, his problems are him. And as much as I can want to fix them and want to make things better, I'm no goddess. I don't have that power to do so. It's up to him. And so I think that there was this misconnect where a part of me thought I could fix him and I can heal him and I can help him. And I think that there's a part of him that also believes that I could do this. And when I didn't, and when I couldn't, or when I didn't, I realized that I never had that power in the first place. I stopped showing up in the same way. You know, I think there used to be this like thing where people say, "What kind of if you were a superhero? What would be your superpower?" And I'm like, healing, duh. Like that, I would want to heal people. I don't want them to hurt. And I think that like part of me believed I had that superpower, you know, like I could help. And I think I had really, really genuine intentions. And I think even he did. I think that like he didn't want to hurt anymore. That's so valid. Who wants to freaking hurt? I'm not sitting here like, heck yeah, guess what, guys? Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and feel like crap again. Tomorrow I'm gonna feel sad and I'm gonna be mad because he did or didn't do these things. But I just need to start to just, like I was saying the other day, is just accept what is happening. Like what has happened should have happened. That is exactly what was supposed to happen. That is exactly on the path that I need to be. So even though all these things are in my eyes at this time of day very destructive, they are also making me stronger. And I realize I can carry the weight of the world and I don't have to lose who I am. I can still do the things that ground me and make me stronger and wiser and have genuine connections with people I really like and be vulnerable to people and say, this is my experience right now. Like I am here, but I am not here. Like I am a shell of a person, but I will reemerge. I need to be in this space. And I think as I learn to create more distance between him and I, then I don't worry about what he's doing and what he's not doing. Of course, I can see what's happening with my kids, but I have to also trust that, you know, they are smart enough to make their own decisions. And I have to trust that at the end of the day, the only decision I really care about is that they know that their mom loves them. And I hope that that's the truth. And I believe that that's the truth. They know I love them. They know I will go to war with and for them. I think at the end of the day, I want them to also know their dad loves them. And I want them to know that our love might look differently and that they're loved. I think that's the most important thing of the equation. And I think because, again, I have my own abandonment issues, I have my own story, that I'm ultra sensitive to the situation, you know, like my mom leaving was something so impactful at such a young age. There was no opportunity to unpack it and process it. And even as I grew older, there was no therapist. Nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about my mom. And you know, I ended up having a conversation with my mom today on Thanksgiving. And, you know, I had a lot of compassion and, you know, she was talking and I was like, you know, she's also an oldest child. And she said, much like you, I had to raise my siblings when this and XYZ and my parents divorced and all this stuff. And I was like, yes. And I was like, Mom, and I give you a lot of grace. Like I have to say, there has never been a day, ever been a day, a minute, a moment where I woke up or I went throughout my day and thought, how can I intentionally hurt my kids? I never ever said that. Thought never came to my mind. So I have to believe as a parent that thought never came to your mind. And so if that never came to your mind, then you always wanted the best for me. So you did your best you could at that time with the tools you had. I really do believe that. And I have to understand that too. You didn't come from this perfect background. And if you take it back, as no matter how good of a mom you might have been, and your mom might have been to you, she didn't come from a perfect background either. Her mom wasn't in her life. And you take it back and back. And this is on both sides of my family. I'm like, Mom, the fact that I am here with my kids every day, I am breaking a generational curse on both sides of my DNA. Like it is in my DNA to run. There were times when I was so overwhelmed and so like anxious and everything. I'm like, I just wanted to run away. I would tell Chris, I'm like, you don't understand. Like it's literally in my DNA to run. No mom has stayed. No mom has stayed with their kids the whole way through. And here I am till my, you know, everlasting breath at 25 years old and almost 25, almost 23, almost 19 and almost 17. Like December's my month that everybody turns. 3 of them turn, and then September or November. Gosh, February. It is to 11 in the morning. So on Thanksgiving, I've been up since 7 in the morning, running around doing things. So it's just, I missed it up. But anywho'svilles, I know it's February. So three in December, 1 in February. But I say all that to say, you know, I am breaking a curse. And I'm also going to break that curse that uncoupling means I need to say something bad about Chris. I will say the truth. I will speak the truth. And I will have my own positions and things on things. And I think as time goes by, I really hope he shows up for them. I will beg him and I will plead to him for the sake of my kids. But at the end of the day, it's up to him and how much time and energy he wants to invest in that relationship. And I know he's accustomed to people coming to him, but if he cares about those relationships, he's gonna have to do the work, and it's his work and it's not my work. And it's like he said, it is not my problem. So they are my problem. And I can't control what he does, but I can control what I do. And if I'm taking this precious time that I have with them to be anything but the best mom possible, then what's the point? So I'm going to show up for them the best mom possible. And we had a killer, amazing, best turkey, hands down, I've ever cooked in my life. That thing was so juicy. Like literally you touched the leg and like juices came. We did the whole brine thing. I've never done that before. Thankfully, my daughter's boyfriend helped with that portion of it. But then I did the whole flavoring and all the buttering and all that kind of stuff. It was so freaking juicy. It was so good. Like, it was the best. I was so excited. So a couple people around the table said this was the best turkey. They said, hands down, one. And, it was just a great day. I wouldn't change a thing for the world. I'm really comfortable and confident with my decision. I felt really relieved that he had places to go, because my fear was he was going to be sitting alone in his apartment. And so to hear he had 4 options of places to go, that gave me a huge sense of relief to say, I'm glad you're not alone. Go out there, enjoy the world, enjoy yourself, and we'll see you another day. So I'm very grateful for that. I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving. Again, I'm going to shout this out one more time. I know it's not Thanksgiving, but I want to say this to you. I am so thankful and grateful for you to show up. I'm thankful and grateful you made it all the way here to minute 32. So thank you so much. Please go out there today. Give somebody a big smile. Give them a compliment and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.